Thank you for joining this session. This will be our last session for the day. So please welcome Ms. Gosha from Campus Spain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for joining this session. My name is Mosia. I'm the Director of Admissions in Campus Spain. We are providing a pathway program for international students targeting any Spanish university for degree or master's studies. But our pathway program is conducted in collaboration with one specific public university, University of Vigo. However, it's important to state that what I'll be sharing with you today is based on our experience with all Spanish universities. So no matter which city, which university the students have been choosing, I'll be referring to their experience with different cities, not only the University of Vigo. So to prepare this presentation, I tried to identify two biggest challenges international students encounter when they try to study in Spain. We know Spain is a boosting and attractive destination. For the agents, I know there are many students who are coming to your offices asking about Spain. And I know that most of agents would identify visa challenges as the biggest problem when it comes to sending students to Spain. And then also, as a second block, a second challenge, understanding the admission requirements to Spanish universities, especially to public universities. Many international students contact Campus Spain and they say that they have done some research and that they know that to get admitted to a public university in Spain for a bachelor's degree, they need to take a so-called selectividad. Selectividad, which is also known as an EVAL exam, it's a very complicated exam for international students if they're not native speakers. It includes an exam in Spanish language and literature and Spanish history. So obviously, if we have a student from India, it's very unlikely they'll be able to prepare and succeed in this kind of exams. So I'm here today also to try to structure the information about the admission requirements to Spanish public universities and inform you and explain to you that actually there are many public universities in Spain where international students from non-EU countries are also welcome without those admission exams. But moving on to the visas first, here's the list of the most important visa requirements international students from non-EU country needs to meet. I will only focus on the most challenging ones. So of course, first we have the economic means. What the Spanish law says is that international students applying for study visa need to prove availability of €600 per each month of their planned stay in Spain. This is the law. I will get back to this number in a while, but from the legal standpoint, the students need to prove €600 per month plus the availability of the funds to cover tuition fees, or they need to prove they have paid their tuition fees already. Students need to pay their visa fee. The administrative fee is approximately €80, depends on the country, but it's not a big amount. Then we have to be careful with the medical insurance when applying for study visa to Spain, because only companies authorized and registered in Spain will be recognized by the consulate, so please make sure you're using the right company. And then, of course, it's important to understand what contents should the admission letter students submit to the consulate have. It's important that the institution that is issuing the admission letter for the student is authorized, is registered as a teaching institution in Spain. A few weeks ago, we were attending a student from Indonesia. She chose a very nice fashion school in La Coruña, but it was a company. This institution was not registered as a teaching institution, and therefore she was not eligible to get a study visa to Spain. So please always make sure, if you're applying for institutions that are not universities, that the institution is correctly registered. Furthermore, the admission letter must confirm that the student is joining a full-time program. So online programs or part-time programs will not be recognized for the visa admission, for the visa application. And the program that student will be taking must it must lead to obtaining of a study certificate. So my advice is when you get an admission letter for a student applying for study visa to Spain, make sure that the admission letter includes all those contents. Of course, the document must be really legalized and translated. Those are other formal requirements to keep in mind. Well, sometimes you're going to encounter a visa denial. In this case, it's good to know students can still challenge the visa denial, sending an appeal written in Spanish to the consulate. Students have 1 month to do so, and the consulate has 1 month to reply. If after 1 month you didn't hear back from the consulate, that unfortunately means your visa is still denied. There is still a legal possibility of submitting a lawsuit in the Spanish Court of Justice, challenging the visa denial. However, this process would normally take more than 1 year to be resolved, so very few students have to fight for their visa up to the end, let's say. Now I would like to give you a piece of advice, some practical approach on what kind of students you should address offering Spain and studying in Spain, and how to prepare them to apply for visa to guarantee a visa success. Because we do believe that a well-prepared visa application to Spain can succeed no matter where the student comes from. So I'm going to divide those tips and those hints into blocks. First, addressing the economic means. You remember a while ago I told you the law says students need to prove 600 euro per month of the stay to get the visa. I always advise showing more money than that. Otherwise, it looks like the student just collected this minimum legal amount, but the family will be left without the funds when they send a student to Spain. So my advice is always try to go higher than this minimum legal amount to be more secure, more sure about the visa. Also, there are cultures, there are countries where it's very often and very normal to have your uncle or even your brother sponsor your studies. There are some Spanish consulates that would expressly forbid that and would only admit parents as sponsors. So please keep that in mind. And if you have a student asking about Spain, it would be much easier to get the visa for the student if the sponsors are the parents. Apart from the amount in the bank account, the consulate would be looking at the source of the money. So it's good to show to the consulate that the student is endorsed by a person who has a regular source of relevant incomes. How do we prove that? We can either show movements in the sponsor's account for the last 6 months, where, let's say, once a month there is a significant amount coming in, or we can show payroll slips or some kind of the employment certificate. That's very important. I always encourage students to attach also salary documents or business documents of the parents to the visa application. Now, what would not work, unfortunately, in most of the consulate are all those property deeds, real estate ownerships, cars ownerships, business ownership deeds. Many students would be attaching those to visa applications, but as far as my experience with this regard is concerned, this is not something that would endorse students if the bank statement is not solid enough. Now, the second reason why most of the visas to Spain might be refused is when the consulate detects that the candidate is not a genuine student and is actually pursuing immigration purposes.